Planet Dolan.
From lewd acts to insane passengers, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the most disturbing things that ever happened to us on a bus. I'm Hellbent, and today I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by jlavisant. One night after work, Doopy got on a bus to go home. She put her headphones in and started reading when a large and very drunk man boarded and sat right next to her. He looked at her, yanked out one of her earbuds, and said, "You're fucking beautiful," while leaning right into her face. His breath reeked of beer, and that, along with his horrible BO, made her want to cry. Doopy kept trying to return to listening to her music, but he was incredibly invasive. Then, for some reason, he tried to give her his wallet. He kept telling her that his wife was leaving him and that Doopy would be a great new girlfriend. The bus driver saw that she was clearly distressed by his constant harassment and told the man to mind himself, but that didn't stop him. Nobody else could even be bothered to intervene. So Doopy decided to get off the bus a few blocks early just to get away from the creep. Just as she was getting up, he grabbed her and started pulling her in for a kiss. That's when she screamed at him, shoved him off, and ran off the bus. She hasn't gotten on a bus since. Number 9 was submitted by Cheer Bows B4 Bros. From preschool until grade 7, Danger Dolan was bullied and abused pretty badly. He had one friend, but he was held back and took a different bus route home. Since none of the kids liked him and they all dreaded to sit next to him on the bus, Dolan was forced to sit next to a first grader. At the time, Dolan was in grade 2. The first grader was known to pull weird stuff out from his Dago backpack, and that day was a dead bird that looked like it had been run over. The bird stunk, and Dolan quickly tried to move seats, but the bus driver yelled at him. He had to go next to the boy with the dead bird, and he was playing with it, and he even asked Dolan if he wanted to play with the bird too. After 8 years and a new school, he found out the boy went to a psychiatric hospital for asking students if he could dissect them, and he had a knife ready if they said yes. Number 8 was submitted by FredBear_1987. Gergak was with his sister and brother on a school field trip. Suddenly, the bus shook violently and all the students were instantly screaming and some were even crying. Gergak held his brother and sister close, hoping it wouldn't happen again. The bus driver stopped the bus, and as soon as they stopped, a dude in a clown costume broke through the back door. Gergak instantly pulled his brother and sister out of the seat and dragged them closer to the front because they were sitting in the very back. Gergak was running so quickly that his brother got some scrapes on the back of his legs from being dragged. As soon as everybody was off the bus, Gergak called the police. When they were going home on the same bus, the clown somehow broke into the same bus again. After that, they filed out and Gergak called 911 again. After that, they never saw him again. Number 7 was submitted by SheWhoLovesToDraw. When SacredSnewpee was 12 years old, she rode the school bus back home from school when she heard a group of older kids in the back of the bus laughing and gasping. Curious, she turned around and saw the girl known throughout the school as the Skank, totally giving head to the most popular guy on the football team. Snoopy turned around quickly and sunk down in her seat out of sheer discomfort. She noticed that the driver was glaring angrily at the sexual deed going on, but he didn't stop it. The next day, the girl never showed up for school, and Snoopy learned from another kid that the driver had showed the Skank's parents a little security video from the bus during that eventful day. And from then on, there was a little yellow sticker next to the camera that said "Smile for the camera." Snoopy stopped riding the school bus and carpooled until graduation day. Wait a second, isn't it a little bit creepy that the bus driver kept that video? Number 6 was submitted by JDDog235. Melissa was on a bus going to visit some family, and some guy got onto the bus who looked kind of sketchy. He sat near the back where there wasn't a lot of people. They were about 5 minutes until the next stop when the guy got up and started yelling at the seat next to him, which was empty. Melissa assumed he was high or drunk, and she just laughed at it. Then she looked back and saw him fully naked, taking a dump on the floor and then rubbing his ass on the seat. She just stopped and stared, and the guy looked at everyone and screamed, "What the fuck are you staring at, bitch? Can't you see I'm having a conversation here?" Melissa got off at the next stop and waited for the next bus. She told her family what had happened, but none of them believed her. Number 5 was submitted by Super Kawaii Kiwi 1200. The most disturbing thing that ever happened to Slapped Ham on a bus was when he was going on a school field trip. After the bus stopped suddenly, the bus driver pulled out a gun and shot himself. Luckily, the teacher knew how to drive a bus. They had a small funeral for the poor bus driver, and Slapped Ham never forgot how nice he used to be. He still cries about it to this day. Number 4 was submitted by ChibsZanaa. When Andy Mations worked at a grocery store, she used to work at night. Because of how far away she lived, she had to take 2 buses home. One night, Andy had gotten off a long shift and was pretty tired when an old man, late 60s, early 70s, sat down next to her. She was a little busty, so she was used to men looking at her. So normally, she sat behind the bus driver just in case she needed to hop out. The old man started talking to her, looking down at her goods. He told her how pretty she was and that he wasn't looking for a girlfriend, but a friend. He asked for her phone number, address, and birthday so they could trade presents on the holiday and the like. Then, out of his pocket, he pulled out Photoshop pictures of himself wearing pimp clothes. He handed them over as he moved closer to Andy, telling her he was a movie star and an actor and that he was going to be in a film playing a drug dealer. Needless to say, she sprinted the hell off of that bus at the next stop. Number 3 was submitted by Venom_Heart. Shima was 12 and it was her first and last day riding the bus. She was going with her mom to see her grandma when the kid behind them started to take off his shirt. He yelled,
"I'm too sexy for my shirt."
Then his mom said,
"Shh, just sit down."
Then the kid took off his shoes and pants and started to walk around the bus. He was just wearing his underwear and his mom said,
"Shut the fuck up and sit down."
She grabbed his arm and slapped him, but he took his underwear off and sat on Shima. He asked her if she thought he was sexy, then yelled,
"I like you."
Shima was really disturbed, especially since the kid was older than her. Number 2 was submitted by teacherkuma. One day, Mikhailum was sleeping on the front row of the bus while on the way to work. He woke up a few blocks before his stop and saw 3 suspicious guys waiting to go on board. He sensed something was about to happen and decided to go to the back of the bus just in front of the back door. A few seconds after the driver accelerated again, the 3 guys started shouting at people to give them their wallets. Mikhailum decided to jump out of the bus, but it was moving and he saw the hand of one of the guys trying to stop him, but he jumped so quick that the man only grabbed his headphones cable. Mikhailum started running to try to avoid falling, but the bus was going too fast for him to do that, so he ended up slipping on the asphalt. Luckily, it had rained the night before, so he only injured his knee and hand. He continued his day normally, but got to his job covered in blood. What's the most disturbing thing that ever happened to me on a bus? When I was a kid, we had a field trip to the Natural History Museum downtown. Everything was going normal until we actually got downtown. Problem was, the bus driver didn't actually know where to go, and it wasn't like we had a GPS or a map or anything that he could use, so we were kind of in a bind. Now, the normal thing to do would be to stop the bus, leave us with the teacher, and get some directions. But the driver, he seemed kind of against that. Maybe he was on notice for being late frequently, or maybe he was just a prideful guy. So, what was his solution? To speed downtown as fast as possible in a desperate attempt to just run across the building. At least that's my best guess. It's not like I got to interview the guy or anything. But I do remember us Tokyo drifting downtown for about an hour and 30 minutes straight. Blasting through intersections, bashing into dips, pretty dangerous stuff. The teacher was too terrified to do anything, and the screaming of the children seemed to only make him more nervous. Eventually, the cops noticed the bus ripping through downtown. They pulled us over, took the bus driver out of there, and we eventually got a new driver in the seat. Of course, by that point, the teacher was too terrified to do anything, so we went back to the school. The teacher, I assume, just went home and cried herself to sleep, and the principal looked after us for the rest of the day. At the time, I wasn't terrified at all, but thinking back on it, we all could have died pretty easily that day. Huge thanks for the folks over on our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. And you probably guessed it already, we have another question for you. What was the dumbest way you ever tried to dump someone? Let us know on the Reddit page linked below and you might be featured in a future countdown. And that's all I got for today. I'm gonna take a cab home. Nothing bad ever happens in a cab. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time, I hope.
The operator held out his hand, demanding whatever it was. The student, now fed up with this whole stupid situation, reaches into his pants and undoes the piercings from his ball sack, and he put the piercing right in the guy's hand.